Yes.
When do you get to a point without a meeting when you say enough is enough? And sit down and somebody else in the rotation and start talking to the club?
It's a combination of deciding what's, how many opportunities we should give him, how productive he's been, and who can we replace him with. We have to feel comfortable with the person we're going to replace him with prior to making a move, but there's some guys who are getting closer, and if in fact we have to do that for the betterment of the ball club, then we'll make the move. That's one thing about Pat. He feels that, and you've seen it in the off season. We like to make, if it even has to be an incremental move to make our club that much better, that can be the difference. I mean, we won a division by a game last year, and so if that move can help us win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games during the course of the year, we're not afraid to do it. Yeah.
Do you think it was the right move to not have Rollins anymore this year?
I think the way we set up, I think it was. I mean, we wanted to keep Aaron Rowan, there's no question about it, but when you're talking about 5 years on a guy at those kind of dollars, it prohibits you from doing some of the things you need to do. Our biggest Achilles heel has been pitching, and it has been for a long time. And we have to try to hold money to pay for pitching, frankly, in this day and age, and to fill in other ways. Had we kept Rowan, we may not have been able to acquire Brad Lidge. I mean, Brad's salary and what it may be beyond is another guy we have to consider in the future. Well, his dollars, and he's making about $6.5 million right now. So we may not have been able to fit all the pieces of the puzzle together had we continued with Aaron Rowan. And we kind of think of not just what we want to do for 2008 or for the year ahead. We've got to think about what the long term as well. I know it's important for our fans and it's important to our organization to get to the World Series and to win the World Series, but we also have to have kind of an eye on the future as well. And I think getting to 5 years at $60 million would have been prohibitive for us. I love the guy. I mean, what's not to love? And he's a good player, and he's a heck of a guy in the club. But we were in a situation where we had people who could actually replace him: Worth, Victorino, maybe Golson down the line. But we had some guys who could replace him. Yes.
You say your best and your worst transaction were with a draft or free agent signing?
Well, obviously Freddie Garcia was one of those. Not too good. What did you get? One win, $10 million. It didn't work out particularly well. Like $10 million too. No, it didn't work out particularly well. Those are things that happen. It's kind of a crapshoot when you go out there and you're acquiring players from other organizations because you don't know exactly what's going on with them a lot of the time. And so this is a guy that, while he pitched extremely well down the stretch for Chicago, and our scouts had great reports on him down the stretch, he ended up being a hurt player that didn't work out particularly well for us. Yes.
Do you personally do any scouting?
Great question. I actually just, on the trip when we went to Arizona and then San Francisco, I shot over to Southern California because there's about maybe about 5 or 6, probably more than that, guys that I wanted to see. Got with Marty Walliver and some of the people out there on the West Coast. Billy Moore, who was our supervisor out there, and I took a look at some kids. In fact, I saw, without question, the best arm. I haven't gone out to do a lot of amateur scouting, but probably one of the best arms I've ever seen as an 18-year-old, a kid that looked almost identical to a young Dwight Gooden, a kid who threw a no-hitter for 7 innings, a high school kid, who was just absolutely outstanding. A kid named Aaron Hicks, who's actually will be a first rounder either as an outfielder or a pitcher, but I don't think he's going to get to us at 24, unfortunately. The fact of the matter is, we wanted to try to do a variety of things. We tried it the year before as well. We just, negotiations is about both sides getting to a place where they're both comfortable and uncomfortable, and so we couldn't get to those places with them. PR-wise, those situations are very, very tough. We do certainly take into account the PR effect and what the long-term effect is on the player and those sorts of things. I'll be frank with you, when we were in the courthouse and we were doing the arbitration case, we weren't real harsh on Ryan. There was not a lot to be real harsh about. I mean, the fact of the matter is, he's had quite a number of extraordinary years. And obviously an arbitrator, a panel of arbitrators thought that he was worth $10 million, which was great for him. I'm a firm believer that I love to pay our players. I love for them to perform so that we can pay them as much money as they deserve. And in this particular instance, what our view of what his value was compared to what the arbitrator believed in was different. And then, those are the things that happen from time to time. We didn't want to go to the court. We just felt like our differences were so great that.
Do you see the Phillies losing either Cole Hamels or Ryan Howard?
Well, I mean, we have them under control for Ryan for another 4 years after this year, and 5 years for Cole. So I mean, we don't. There's no real rush. I mean, that's the thing that sometimes gets lost in the shuffle here. They cannot become free agents until 6 years has elapsed in their contract, in their major league service. So they can't go anywhere unless we decide that we want to move them. So the fact of the matter is, one of the things that's good for us and for baseball is that, and for the fans, is that we can control the player for 6 years before they can actually become free agents.